Lit. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to live coverage of the European Championship in Premodern in Prague. I'm Adam Koska. I'm here with
Tomáš Vlček and our special guest, Martin Berlin.
It's a pleasure to be here. We are happy to have you here. And so we're going to take turns commenting in the booth, the three of us. We also might have Petr Sochurek, our usual guest commentator. So fans of Petr, you will not miss him, hopefully, today.
Yes, we needed somebody to make fun of, so he's coming definitely later today.
It's one of his roles, I would say. I would say that like he's, obviously the former pro player, so a very good player for sure. We're going to start round one in about 10-15 minutes, I would say. People are still pouring into the main room, as you can see from there's this special camera, like the security camera at the top of the...
When you can see the whole room. Yeah. Officially, what we know about is that we have 214 players that are registered, that send their list, so we are expecting something, that kind of a number, but, family matters, always something can happen.
Yeah. So. How many people are going to oversleep? Yeah. Like statistically, 214 is a lot of people already.
Yes, so, not to mention there was a small warm-up event last night. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend. I was babysitting, but how was it?
It was cool. It was 22 people in a cafe with stuff to eat and drink. In the meanwhile, it's also actually like a small theater with a stage on the side, and I think it was really casual. People had fun.
It's good to have a friend who's running like this kind of a place, and he's also Magic player.
Yeah. That's true.
Some perks in that. So, Martin, what are your feelings about today, about the tournament? And
I feel that this is just like the perfect setup we have here. I was thinking about venue. There was a nice cafe last night, but for the people who are not here today, can you tell us something about where we're at, the venue today?
Right, yeah. I mean, maybe Tomáš knows more about the venue.
Yes, we are in a part of Prague where... it's like the 19th century outskirts, which used to be a lot of it was very industrial, but it's still 19th century. And obviously one part of every industrial place is a brewery, So we are here at Staropramen Brewery, which paradoxically, I think Czechs don't like it very much. But every time
Opinions differ.
Every time I go abroad and I see shelves with beers, Staropramen is often there. It just costs 7 times less here than in Sweden, for example, I think, or something about that. So we are actually in the perimeter of the brewery, and there is a beautiful restaurant, and it has still has that 19th century feel. This place, and it's very spacious, and people can go for a walk. Not far from here is a big park, and I think it's lovely, and it's good that you have a draft beer on the site, done by professionals. So I think it's and we even have an award here. We'll show you later for the biggest drinker.
Because an award.
Sorry?
An award.
Award, yes. We have. Sorry, see it. So the biggest drinker today will get this kind of...
That's care of the Tecnoliga of Spain.
Something like that. Because for some reason in Czech culture, drinking a lot, which is a bad thing, is a good thing, and it makes you a hero. For some reason.
But this venue is honestly, it's the nicest one I've been to, and I've seen quite a few nice even Magic venues. So really nice place, and we also have a proper restaurant 1 floor down as well.
Yes.
So
I think that's sometimes where the restaurants can struggle. Oh, sorry, the venues can struggle. There's nothing to eat, just with overpriced baguettes, but eating third baguette for the day. I think it's great that you can go downstairs after you face say Stifle Knot, so you maybe have enough time to have a proper lunch.
There are some quick rounds, some quick matches for sure in Premodern. Yeah.
But in my experience of traveling the world, playing say Legacy, I remember Italy was great. But some smaller events, there was 2 rounds, and then we all went for lunch. And I told you about my visit. My visit in Sweden at Marcus Ewald. After 2 rounds, we went to the port and have seafood. Everybody went together. It was 40 people. We had a booking. We went there, had a lunch, came back hour later, played round 3. So
That sounds amazing.
Maybe something we can think of.
Well, this city is unfortunately not known for its seafood, being like very much landlocked. This is
Yes,
not
there were
something
some
we
pork brisket and dumplings.
Yeah. So, but anyway, what's the situation on the floor? I think we're gonna start soon.
We're going to start soon. Say one of the main organizers of this whole event, Irka Čermák, he will have a speech. He will welcome everybody, say some basic information.
He promised to keep it short this time. Very, very short.
Yeah, I think he can do that. And but unfortunately we can't transmit it, but we felt we can maybe talk about some other things. We have something in mind. I already told Martin that I have at least 5 big topics I want to discuss, later during the stream. So I just want him to be ready for it.
Speeches before Magic tournaments can be short, can be long. I remember GP Shanghai some years ago. There was a political appointee who.
Sorry, when you say some years ago, that means 10 or 15.
About 15, I would
15,
say.
so some years ago. So you understand our language.
But it was a speech about how games bring friendship between nations, and it was about 40 minutes. So it was sealed deck, and people were sitting waiting to open their pools, and it was very important to have that speech. I would say so. We promise we're gonna keep it shorter than that.
Yes.
5 minutes.
Hopefully.
Yes, like Jirka's speech, because obviously we'll be talking for next 12 hours, pretty much non-stop. But I remember I was at the Pro Tour Brussels, and they had a speech in front of the tournament, and then they were like, "Who's the first-time attendee of Pro Tour? Please stand up."
Oh, okay.
And I thought I would get some award, so I stood up, and they were like, "Thank you for participating," and you felt like total noob after sitting back, and everybody knew, okay, whatever signal this guy is giving, I'm not going to ignore it because he has no idea what he's doing. I think they stopped doing it. But that felt really embarrassing when few people stood up.
It's like when there are exams at school, and when there was, I remember there were 2-part exams, and if you failed the first part, you would not have to continue the second part, and then the teacher would start correcting straight away. So sometimes during part 2, he would tell you okay, is this person here? And they would say yes. You don't have to continue anymore. You can leave. And then in the middle of everybody writing, that person would just leave the room. So yes. I imagine it felt.
No, as a teacher, I'm trying to skip all that sort of thing because. It can actually. I know now we make fun of it, but it can have actually some impact on the person, in a long term. So I think it's maybe,
All right. Back to Magic. I know that Premodern is a format that doesn't rotate, but do you expect some hype around this time of the year? Is there some deck that's really riding high right now? And
in my opinion, and I would like to obviously hear your opinions, but it seems to me that finally Replenish is getting where it should have been. I think because it was a menace in standard. Back in the day,
long time ago.
Some time ago, some time ago.
Yeah.
So it was a menace, and I think it's finally getting where it should be because it's kind of absurd. Some draws feel almost not beatable. It's super strong. It has strong combo. It has a good sideboard cards, swords and counterspell. But every single card is kind of good on its own. When you play turn 2 Seal of Cleansing, it's all right. It's you're not sorry about it. And some decks, we'll talk about it, the meta game breakdown, that one of the most popular decks is everybody's favorite Dead Guy Ale. So they have super hard time beating that deck. Even if you discard his cards, then he draws Replenish and just wins on the spot.
Some Dead Guy Elves run Withered Wretch main deck,
yes,
I think, which is a concession to the popularity of Replenish. But I agree. And actually, Václav Alt won the last big tournament here, the Czech Premodern Championship that was here in May. So he won with Replenish. So I think maybe that also contributed to the visibility of the deck. That it got the recognition, it got the win. So I agree.
I think I was thinking that super strong even year ago, 2 years ago, but I was just still wondering why people don't play it more. Similar with elves. With elves, always people mention, well, it's so expensive, so many people just don't want to invest into it because buying. Yeah, it's just really expensive.
Okay, so we have replenish. What do you think, Martin? Something that should maybe we should keep an eye on today, or
So I don't know if you heard, because it's pretty fresh news, but as many of you know, the LobsterCon Premodern and North American Championships were played yesterday in the US and finished like tonight during our time.
All right.
So actually,
that's very fresh.
Yeah, I actually woke up like tonight and I couldn't get any sleep, so I tuned in and in time for like the finals. So
It was a Dreadnought versus Dreadnought.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, how do you know? You also woke up early.
No. I have my people for it. They just told me this morning.
Okay.
But not surprising. I think Dreadnought Replenish, we are totally expecting that in like top 4.
And what versions of Dreadnought was it?
Yeah, if you don't want any spoilers, I guess you should run away now or cover your ears. But the version that won was quite interesting. It was a mono blue version, but with some different card choices. It included Parallax, the Tide, the blue one.
Okay, that's sweet.
And also a couple of Mischievous Factories. So and it was piloted by Brian Selden. So meaning he now has back-to-back wins of LobsterCon because he won last time
That's
around
impressive.
as well. Yeah, that's really impressive. And in the finals, he faced a blue-black Dreadnought with Psychotog. So two, I mean, kind of
Yes. Okay.
not quite standard builds. So even though, Stiflenot for sure is a deck to watch out for, but it will be also interesting to see how they can gain an edge.
But I mean, with the bad news of like 2 Dreadnoughts in the finals, because I'm always for the underdog. I always want like these kind of slower mid-range decks to do well. But I mean, that's the good news is that they were like different, like Psychotogs than we were.
There's still innovation going on, and
And I think it's especially, I guess we might see it today with the sideboards, because that's definitely a thing that will always change. You know, obviously one of the perks of the format is it's not going to change. You can still bring your deck, but definitely sideboard can be difference between winning and losing. And and I just talked to a friend of mine who plays Burn, and he's like, I'm just going to ignore white. It's not good anyway, you know. So he just puts more against Dreadnought, against blue decks, you know. And I think that makes sense. And I think it's usually that's how you want to do it, because like playing Anarchy sounds cool, but like when you're casting Anarchy, you're probably dead anyway. It doesn't really matter, probably. So.
But in general, I think we have a lot of these like micro innovations going on within the established archetypes. So we should watch out also not only what archetype it is, but actually how they build it. Sometimes it's in the details, and with all these small innovations, like over time, you almost end up with a new deck. Like.
Yes, and not to mention when we were sitting here with Adam about a year ago when we did the first first Czech Premodern, I was always saying the best card is like Phyrexian Furnace, because like it's just a small thing, but you can draw a card. I always like when you draw a card, but another card I always loved and I felt it's amazing, and it's getting a little more recognition lately, is Sabos Web. Which I love so much. I always did, and it's amazing to see that people play like 2 main deck, or some play it in sideboard, and it can do a lot for you.
Yeah, a lot of replenish decks actually play Sabos Web main deck as well. Like it gets you 1 card further to the 1 card you need actually. And it can do stuff on the side as well. I agree.
Yeah, yes, because I remember even like in standard the replenish, because that was that kind of standard when Mercadian Masks were there. So Rishadan port was a massive problem for replenish, like huge problem, because they needed often double blue, double white. You know, they had these extra lands. So I think they know what they're doing. And that Sabos Web was printed. Of course, it's not standard anymore, but it came in the next block in Invasion, and it was just, I think, so important. I like it a lot, and I'm happy that it gets recognition.
Yeah, I think it's like very much your style of card. It doesn't really do much, but it draws a card.
It's one of my favorites ever, I have to say.
Like Gail's Blessing, I just make my top 10. Wall of Blossoms, I think
It's like Tomáš's checklist of cards. If he plays, does it draw a card? If yes, then proceed.
Unfortunately, Striped Bears are a little bit... yes, they're not there.
Yeah, Phyrexian Rager, maybe?
Yes, that's like a borderline player. But I remember I
That's
tried
very
to play
generous
Strike
of you
Bears,
to
but
say.
it was just too. It was just too.
But what do you say about the Ponza Oath decks? I guess that is like one of the big decks to beat, and it's been quite hyped lately.
I think so. Maybe. Well, what's the matchup between the Ponza and Replenish? Actually, like it should be pretty good for Replenish, I suppose. Because they don't have really creatures.
But they destroy your lands.
How much of a problem is it?
I think it's a big problem.
Because the Replenish deck has what, like Attunement,
Replenish
and
needs
Frantic Search, so you can keep drawing.
that is true, but Attunement is like a bit kind of card at a disadvantage, and some cards can be relevant against like land destruction. And of course, it depends on how many like land destruction spells you play. You always have probably 4 Risha and Port 4 Wasteland, and then you have like 8 destroy land spells,
like
something like that.
Thermocost.
Yes.
And,
What I want to say is that I think, of course, it always depends on the dynamic of the particular matchup. But I mean, Replenish needs 4 mana to work. Yes, they have like Ancient Tomb or City of Traitors, but they kind of can struggle, you know. And when they stumble, when they don't play every turn a land for like 5 turns, I think they can have them. They have some disenchants. I would probably bring in like Tormund's Crypt or something like that, like just to against it. So I'm not so sure that it's. What do you think? Like,
I was just thinking if you would expect, for example, Replenish decks to pack Teferi's Response in the sideboard.
Yes, that was the other card I was thinking about when we talk about like Sabo's Web. It draws 2 cards, but it's you need this kind of a protection. But I think definitely, I think you need to think about it when these decks become more prevalent, because that's how Replenish can lose, like with some kind of Armageddon, with like quite a lot of hate. Like Rishadan Port just on its own, not so good. They can play in response Frantic Search, and basically just do the turn with Replenish. You know, when you tap their land, they just get mana, play it, and then untap. They can proceed play the 4th land and just like do their thing. But definitely one of the ways how to fight Replenish would be like deal with the mana. You know, they again back in the day they even played like these 2 mana artifact sources, like the
marble,
these diamonds. They played the Sky Diamond, the blue one, and white one, because turn 2 you have not much to do. You know, in Premodern you just play like Seal of Cleansing. I don't think you have anything else. Maybe after sideboard you have like some mana leak. I'm sure. So here you can play the artifact, and then you have the 4 mana, like turn 3. So maybe that's like a future innovation. Well, innovation, you just play something what people played 25 years ago.
So like archaeology then innovation, but...
Yes. But that's what we're doing here. Like I even have printed papers of some deck lists from 2002. I have some old sideboards where I go for inspiration.
Like the magazine sideboard.
Yes, the magazine sideboard, sorry. And it's so amazing. The only thing I'm a little bit sometimes sad about, and I'm not criticizing anything, is that some decks are unplayable with the dual lands. You know, there was like amazing blue-green small creatures deck I always wanted to play with, like Winter Orb, Armageddon, Kurin, Ranger, Mother of Runes, River Boa. But unfortunately, it doesn't work when you don't have Savannah.
And Mox Diamond doesn't solve your problems.
Unfortunately, no, because very important is that you want to play with Winter Orb in play.
Okay.
And you want to be returning Savannah or Taiga, untapping your creatures. You know, there are also Birds of Paradise. We can maybe find the deck list later, but it's like a deck I always wanted to play. I loved it so much. It has Phyrexian Furnace main deck. Okay. The actual deck list from many years ago to battle Auto Druids, because that was the best strategy at the time. It had like 4 Seal of Cleansing main deck, 3 Wax Wayne. So that's a deck I wanted to bring to this format.
If it's something that you really want to play, then you're talking to the right person here who's in charge. But I'm not sure how likely is it that Savannah will get unbanned or introduced to the format. Probably not.
So. Because then the mana base would just completely change, right? It would not be the same. Because I think that's one of the things with Premodern, that like playing 2 colors, that's already a downside. It makes...
There's a price to pay for that.
There is a price. It's not for free. Not like in Legacy where you play 5-color control, which I sometimes play. It's like you just search first turn for triple land. You play second turn like dual land. You have all the mana in the world, and it doesn't cost you anything. And I kind of like it about Premodern. I think it's good. I like that it's difficult. That like even 2 mana, like we all been there. Like 2 mana in any format probably. You don't even think about it. You play double colored spells and you don't think about it. But in Premodern, it's complicated,
Yeah,
especially when you have when you don't have the fetch lands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you are off color, then the mana is kind of bad, and you see people play like City of Traitors in like mid-range decks because they need
City of
mana.
Brass.
Brass, yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
City of Brass.
Yeah.
Yeah, in particular, color pie matters. So I mean, playing red-green is not hard, but black-white, as many of you know, is it's quite tricky to get it to work. But
Yes.
regarding that deck, I remember like a kind of a similar deck from Standard that went well. I think was there a Norwegian guy, Nikolai Herzog. I think he had this. He had Undiscovered Paradise, I think, as part of a mana base in a similar deck. It had like Winter Orbs and also small weenies and stuff. So
Yes.
Undiscovered Paradise, I think, has some potential in other decks with cards like Winter Orb.
That's
and-
also in that deck list I was talking about. The Undiscovered Paradise was there. I think Undiscovered Paradise is fantastic. I like it a lot.
Can you play it in a playset though? Can you play four of them?
That's exactly what I want to say. I think you can play one.
I would go with like 2
Maybe
or
you can
3
play-
if you're desperate.
Maybe you can play two,
But you can get punished. That's
you can really get punished, of course. As a one-off, like you never want to have like two on the table, but when you have one, I think you can play with it. It's like it's quite good. I like it a lot. But when you have to when you want to play Birds of Paradise turn one of Undiscovered Paradise, it's probably not where you want to be.
What's your limit on how many Undiscovered Paradise can you play?
I think it depends on. I mean, like the mana curve of a deck. If the mana curve is really, really low,
Yeah.
I think you could probably play 4 of them. I mean,
Okay.
if basically it tops at 2, with some exception, because then you can even play like a birds, and then you play a 2 mana costing cost spell after. So I think it depends.
Yes.
Uh,
After the
Okay.
Lantex is finally
Okay.
banned, because obviously I have play set from those days. Turn one Undiscovered Paradise Lantex, go enjoy your game.
It's so unfortunate that they got banned for.
No. I wanted it. I wanted it for so long. That's why I played the deck. I told you.
Yeah, I think honestly, banning Lantex was one of the better things that happened to the format. Like
No, of course, for sure. But we had like I remember it's like a long time. It was only on Facebook. We had like exchange because I was asking what was the procedure, because my feeling was that it should have been banned, and maybe we can discuss that how that works and how you approach it. If because I think it's good
maybe
to be
later on
transparent in
when
it.
we have a bit of
just to
time, we
know.
can mention it.
Because I know you always want to be like transparent, Martin, and you also, I know you were saying that you go for data, you see how the deck does well, how oppressive it is. So maybe we can discuss it if you want to.
All right, so it seems like we're about to start. I'm gonna take a short break here. I'm gonna go and check in the main hall. So if you guys want to stay here,
Yes,
I'm gonna
maybe-
rejoin you
maybe
briefly.
we can stay, and Adam will get us. So if it's okay with you, Martin, so maybe since we like bite into it, how do you approach it? Because obviously you are in charge of like bannings and health of the format. You know, I was thinking that as I told you before, that it's like your child is somewhere in the world running, playing, and you still take care of it. So how do you approach it? How do you do it? Because it's a kind of quite a responsibility, isn't it? To thousands of players.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, when the format grows, like every year, it feels like almost the weight of taking decisions like increases gradually, because there will be more people who will have an opinion. I know that like if I make a change, there will always be some people that are happy, but also some people are unhappy. Yeah, I mean, in general, I don't like mind. I mean, doing uncomfortable decisions, which I believe are for the long term, like greater good of the format. So,
And which one would you say was like the more uncomfortable decisions that you had to make? Because I think banning Lantex, that it had a long time coming, right? Like that was not controversial. I don't think many people were I can imagine some people were unhappy that they couldn't play some of their decks. On the other hand, it was just so frustrating to play against it. It was just, and it was so strong. So I think most people, I don't know anybody who thinks it should not have been banned.
yeah, there are
In
people,
our community,
yeah.
I think most people would
yeah.
agree with that. So
Some people were strongly against, and I can still see their points. And I mean, regarding like how decisions are made and so on. I mean, I would say it's more of an art than science, in the sense that, I mean, so as a person, I mean, I work with statistics and modeling and whatnot, but it's we don't really have that kind of data where you see like how decks perform generally. I mean, you can see like in terms of what are the matchup percentages and so on. So, and even if we had, it's sometimes hard to interpret, because you always have kind of selection into what players play certain types of decks and so on and so on. And as you said, I mean, some people will just. I mean, there are other constraints. Some people might not play old decks because they can't really afford like 4 Gas Cradle or 4 Metropods Diamond, or people more common people would like to play their favorite decks. Like I prefer to play my lands deck, even though I know it's not like the best one, but it's the one I think is most fun. So there's a limit to data, but I mean, it's I think it's important to pay attention to what happens like in the top. I mean, not only the overall distribution, but also like what decks do really well, because that will have an impact on people preparing for tournaments. Absolutely. If they kind of want to do well. So that will have an impact even if it's kind of a share. It is. We talk about like the winners meta game.
Yes, because that's another topic, big topic we'll discuss maybe later. But when I stay with the data, so what are the data? What data we have? How many tournaments there are? How many like players? Well, we can't probably even say how many players play. But also, as you mentioned, like the data can be a little bit deceiving in terms of like people have the deck, they want to play the deck, because there is less incentive to play the best deck. Of course, some people always have it. So how did you try to identify this problem with the data, let's say?
I think so data is a broad term. So that's like deck performance statistics, or we can look at top 8 decks. But I think equally important data is actually sitting down with the deck, like shuffling up, playing it or playing against it, or even just watching a game. Like how is the gameplay, and that will tell you actually a lot about like for instance, like the power level of a card, how it kind of shapes the matches. And so if we take a card like Land Tax, it really like from the very beginning of the game, it really like frames the match. In a very special way.
It's like another standstill in a way, but
Yes.
But the other way around, like with Landstill, you want to play lands, and eventually the game like slows down a bit. But with Landtex, you are like, you don't play land number 2, and you just keep on discarding. Which is very odd. And watching a game like that or commenting in on this was very weird. I'm sorry, I want to interrupt.
But in general, there are many factors to consider. So one factor to consider, generally, I've spoken about this earlier, is the balance like between creature decks and non-creature deck. Because if I think like creature decks should be sort of at the core of any like sane format. In a sense, it would be very weird if like its creatures were just a niche strategy. I think that breaks a lot of people's expectations about Magic. And another thing to consider is of course like color balance, and also like archetype balance in general.
No, that's absolutely fascinating. And do you think we are there? Are you happy with it, or is there something that worries you a little bit? Doesn't mean we'll get bans or anything, but is there anything you would like to see, or that you don't see, or the other way around? What is there that you do like, that it's actually happening, that you see? What makes you happy? Apart obviously from that it's growing, that people like it, that people enjoy it, that people brewing.
There are a lot of things I'm really happy with, and then some things I'm not so happy with. But starting with the things I'm happy with, we see, I think, a quite like big diversity in the field of good decks. Now, taken very broadly, it means you can. If you want to do well at the tournament, there are lots of decks you can actually choose from, and then lots of people have made this like tier list. And what are the tier? What are they like? A tier, B tier, and exactly, and they don't always end up with the same ideas, but which is also, I think, sane in a way. But that is good. And then there is like below that, like okay decks. Then you have. Okay, Adam is telling us that the feature match is going to start very soon, so we're going to wrap up for now. But but that's one thing that I'm happy with, and I'm also happy to see that like there's this evolution going on, these innovations that I talked about. It's really cool to see, even if nothing really happened, say in the past half year, we still see a lot of small innovations.
But every time I say something, because always, at least in the sideboard, you always see some card that you have to read. That you have to find out what it is, because people are always going through the old sets. And
I'm still learning. I'm still, what the heck is this card? But just quickly, one thing that I'm not so happy with is the color balance, and in particular, with respect to black. Black is a little bit underwhelming. It has some very strong support cards, like discard spells, like the Rest and Cabal Therapy, and cards like Engineer Play. Like, it perhaps lacking some really like truly black strategies that are really good.
No, it's very easy. You just unban Necropotence.
There are some candidates, but but overall, I have to say I'm very happy. I think the color balance, if we disregard black, is pretty good actually, and it's also quite interesting to see green being such a strong color. Maybe breaks people's expectations a little bit, at least back in the day. I mean, blue was always like the color to beat, but blue is still good. But I don't feel that blue is dominant in the way it can be. It can feel like in some other like older formats.
Yes. I know. I think I would agree with everything you say. Well, on the other, like one of the like a pet decks that I sometimes play in Premodern is mono black. You know, I like it a lot, especially with we call it potato, but it's that deals 1 damage to everything.
Plague Spitter.
Plague Spitter. I think that's a amazing card if you play against right matchup. It can be actually completely dominating the table.
And amazing artwork.
Amazing artwork, and But I think we are going to move to they're shuffling. So we are getting ready for match number 1. So how are we going to do it? So, would you like to comment on the first round?
Sure.
Okay. Yes, is that okay? We just keep it, and
we have room for 3.
We spoke for the next round. But if you want to join us,
I think it's better if it's just you.
Yes, 2 people. Okay. Maybe we just move a little bit. Yeah, Martin, if you can move a little bit, and we'll.
Okay.
Wonderful. Yes. So. Yeah, obviously cards I'm missing a lot is Hint to Turak. You know, I was wondering if it would be too strong, but maybe if it's a black, like I know there are some rules for it, but probably we allow Fallen Empires, it probably wouldn't do much. There are basically no cards there, right?
Apart from High Tide and perhaps Goblin Grenade.
There's Goblin Grenade.
Yeah.
I don't want to play against that.
But High Tide you would like to play against.
I'm not sure. Would it be? Probably would be good. It kind of exists even without it, right? With the diamonds. So here we go. So we have Roman Pulker with Rogue deck. I'm quite exciting about, and Federico Macalli with Goblins. Oh, that's the brew. So how many? 2 Undiscovered Paradise. We just talked about it.
Oh, this is a cool deck.
That's a cool deck. That really is a cool deck. Armadillo Cloak to offset that Reaver's disadvantage, because the Reaver, it's I think it's 2 mana 4/4, but every time it deals damage to you as well. So you just put Armadillo Cloak on it, and that's combo.
That's actually brilliant. Yeah, we were talking about decks with greedy mana base, I could say, but I mean aggressive decks with Undiscovered Paradise, and here is an example.
Yes.
We have 2. I mean, this mana base takes the time to
Yes.
I understand it, but we have a mix of City of Brass, Gemstone Mine, and then a couple of undiscovered paradise, kind of answering the question
Yes. And I think I like a lot that they play 3 triple lands, you know, those lands from plane shift, which can like reset your gemstone mine, because the gemstone mine, every time you tap it for the second time, you feel like that's it. I'm going to lose the land next time. So I think it's I love it. I love all those cards.
Yeah,
it looked great.
It'd be interesting to see how this has everything basically. It's
And we're going to
aggression and
see
disruption.
Goblin deck. I think here it's probably no big surprises. I think this is a pretty standard deck. I don't see anything too special. So obviously it's quite clear. Nothing against Federico, but we know who we are cheering for. So I just want to say I think these lands, they are so important when you play gemstone mines. And what do we have here? I see it's double arena, counter spell, and 4 lands. I'm not sure who's starting, but the problem is like it's as old as like Urza Saga, like turn 1 lucky, and that can be it.
Yeah, I figured this has to be a mulligan, and he doesn't know what he's up against for sure. But this seems like a very passive hand with the double arena. That's like a mulligan already, and no threats, and also no answers.
No answer.
If
there was Swords to Plowshares, I would feel much better about
besides
it.
counterspell.
I hope Roman is at least on the play, because if he's on the draw, it's bored. I'm not sure if you can even like keep this hand. And I think that's one of the things because I play a lot of Legacy. And with Legacy, you just see like land ponder and you keep the hand pretty much, right?
Okay.
But I think in Premodern, you have to mulligan much more. You have to be a bit more cautious.
Yeah.
Oh no!
But
Oh no!
apparently-
Oh no! Okay, okay.
So apparently he kept that 7 card hand, right?
Yeah, he
on
kept
the
7
play.
card
Okay.
hand on the,
Okay.
but he was
Yeah,
on the
okay.
play. He
Okay,
had
then he has the counterspell
so he had
for
to
that.
just dodge the
Okay, fair enough.
lucky.
Yeah.
I think with Mog Fanatic he can
So if
deal
you can
with
counter
that.
a threat and then drop arena, but then I don't know, that damage will add up, I believe, in this matchup.
Yes.
Yeah, but he has the cloak.
Armadillo
How many cloaks?
Cloak.
How many?
3. I think there were 3.
Okay.
This is quite a lot.
Quite a lot, yeah.
Yes, and I think Goblins can have a hard time dealing with like 6/6 trample, lifelink.
Yeah, but without the cloak, cards like Flesh Reaver is not exactly what you want.
Yes.
And now we have the
And now we have
Fort
the
versus
old-
the City.
Yes, very old combo.
Yeah.
Very old combo. So we'll see how he will approach it. But I think he can't tap. He has to pass, right? He can like tap out. He has Birds of Paradise, which
Okay.
he's going to play it. So he's like now he's like naked.
Tempting the Mog here to.
Even that, yes. Then I probably would not tap out. I would probably pass with Counterspell, because you're not under such a big clock. Because even if he's tapping your City of Brass, that means like it's just 1 damage for in exchange that he's not going to do anything. So lucky. No.
Not a Mog.
He's going to kill it and tap. I think considering Roman's hand, probably this game is evolving. He can't be too sorry about that. He's right. Considering he had a hand, he could be just stomped.
Yeah. He had a cloak. He has a cloak in hand.
Yes, but no creature.
And the two arenas. But yeah.
Yes. Now will you play? You will just play the arena. I remember arena was so strong. Like drawing extra cards.
I think if you this is hard, but if you want to play the arena, it's almost like you should do it now, because you can have a counter spell for a siege gang or something that could be way worse. But it's of course
he's playing it. He's
yeah.
going for it.
But
I agree with it. Yeah, like yeah.
He has to do something, but a ringleader now is not so nice for him, of course. But yeah, he has to.
On the other hand, he will untap with like 5 mana.
Yeah.
So he will have maybe some things to do. Yes. Yeah, but I like it. I like it a lot, and I hope even later during today's tournament we will see decks like this. Because but my experience, like mainly playing against Goblins, is that it's so resilient. Like you can like Wrath of God them 2 times. You can do this and that, counter some of their Goblins, but then they will just they have so many like ways how to come back into the game.
Yeah, fortunately for Roman, Federico here has a quite slow start.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it seems that he doesn't have a land drop yet this turn, please, and plays Goblin Matron instead.
And he's going probably for a ring leader, I would imagine. And now it's
Yeah,
kind of
or
amazing.
maybe the War Chief, because if he doesn't have the fourth land,
see.
I would rather go for the War Chief. And possibly he has a ring leader already in hand. Yeah, he goes for the War Chief.
Yes.
Uh, But
I don't hate Roman's position.
No,
he's
not
not going
now,
to attack.
not
He's
now.
going to 14. He will have a
Yeah.
fifth land,
Yeah,
and he will draw extra card.
Yeah, he
and
can play a creature with a counterspell backup, and then he can come back with Armadillo
Armadillo
Cloak the
Cloak.
turn after that. And that creature, if it's like a Flash Reaver or something, is pretty hard to deal with.
Yes. You would need super wide boards to be able to like cycling.
With the jump on incinerator.
Jump
Yeah.
Armate, yes, absolutely. It's such a good feeling drawing extra card, being still on kind of a healthy 14 life. And now he can even reset his gemstone mine, gemstone, because he has.
Is that a meddling mage?
Yeah, I think there's meddling mage and there is a Dariga's cavern.
Meddling mage for War Chief is actually really nice play here.
So what he's going to do? Yes, that's nice. But generally, it's like, yeah. So how is he going to do it? But I think you just play, meddling mage, name War Chief. You have a blocker, and it's kind of hard to get through it, right? Like you can't really attack, or you trade both creatures for meddling mage. Maybe he has gem palm.
It's possible that he has a jump on, but then he will spend one turn doing that at least. So
Absolutely.
I think at some point you might want to return the City of Brass
Yes.
when you get low on life with one of those.
Is he going to put Armadillo Cloak on it?
already?
Incredible.
Wow.
I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, but that at least but if he said War Chief now,
Yes.
I'm assuming I actually like this play because this means even if he has an incinerator, he cannot touch it because that will only add up to 3 damage with a Mog. But wouldn't you swing there? No, it's Summoning Sickness.
Yes,
Sorry, my bad,
he
yeah.
just played it. But I think, still he can like attack with like Matron and with Gem Palm he can still kill it. So
Sure,
he's
but then we deal 1 damage. I mean that's it's not a problem. He can swing back with a.
Yeah, but he would kill it, right? You attack with Mother, he blocks. That's 1 damage.
Yeah, but
Not
but
Fanatic.
you don't have to block. That's what I mean.
Yeah. But I mean there is a possibility of a swing. But yeah, it's super cool. I mean Armadillo Cloak.
Yeah.
Don't laugh, it works.
Yeah, I mean, he has another Armadillo Cloak in hand. We can glance just now. That's pretty brutal. But on the other hand, he has only 3 mana, so in that case, he couldn't keep counterspell mana up.
And also the plane shift land that I think it's called Dariga's Cavern. This one, I'm not sure, but it's a there are Junt colors, right? Yes, Dariga's
Caldera.
Caldera. Yes, it's a word I use every week. So it's there are Junt colors, so it might be a bit more complicated to cast counterspell.
Yeah, but that's an underground river, right? In play.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and
it is. I mean,
yeah, and then he has a gemstone in his hand. So.
Yes, I think he will be fine. He'll be fine. It's also incredible. I remember when we were starting with Premodern, like it was like, oh, it's so cheap. Like these lands they cost like 3-4 euros.
Yeah.
And now they cost like 10.
But when I
Maybe
started
12.
with Premodern, I can tell you, it was very, very cheap. It was ridiculous. And then it was more a problem that you couldn't even find some cards like among vendors because they were so bulky. They didn't dig them out.
Yeah, and I know. I actually found when I went through my bulk, I found a lot of them. Okay, so it's double gem.
Double Gemple. Okay, I didn't have that on my radar to be honest. But I still think that was
Correct,
It
like-
was the correct play there. Yeah.
But even if he kept counterspell up, nothing he could have done about it.
No,
But I think
exactly. You can't.
But I think he's still on like kind of healthy life points, so
Yeah.
he's not like dead yet. Now, tell me, this shadow he has in hand.
Yeah, it's a 1 toughness creature, so that's a bit unfortunate.
That's
Means-
unfortunate. Yeah, and does it have protection from white? Am I wrong, or is the other one?
I don't know if it's protection or if it cannot be blocked by white. It might be protection. And shadow, of course.
No.
Be blocked by
It can't be
white.
blocked by
Yeah,
white
yeah.
creatures.
So-
By the way, a lot of people brought this card today because Jeff Laubenstein
Yeah.
is our guest. You know, this one of the most iconic artists. Like, if you ever we all know Recurring Nightmare or Show and Tell. So if you even if you are like not playing and you're in Prague, you should come today or tomorrow. Tomorrow we have like a dual commander tournament here. I think you'll still be here. So if you want your cards to be, you want your card signed.
But I think we're capped, right? So we're only allowed paying visitors. I think that was the information.
Oh really? You just
think so.
can't you can't walk around if you're not really. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Tomorrow. Okay. Okay. So today.
Okay. This is just for the club.
Yeah. Okay, there comes the War Chief. Federico hit his 5th land, we could note as well. That's going to be relevant.
And it's interesting that he kept the forest untapped. Does it mean he has like naturalized, or why wouldn't he keep like Richard and Port? Of course, like I don't see his hand. He's probably going to play something. 3rd Gem Palm. Sounds fair. But he can completely ignore the shadow. The shadow doesn't do anything. You can't put Armadillo Cloak on it because that you'd kill it with the Mock Fanatic.
Now it looks very bad for Roman.
Yes.
He would have needed another creature that he could.
I'm but of course, like the creatures you can play in the format, he's destroying it.
Okay, seems kind of unnecessary because
I agree. I think it kind of increases your clock and gives you kind of because you have 1 more damage, so he would be on virtual 5 right now. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But with this kind of a deck that you play all the colors, how do you deal with which creatures do you choose? Because you have like quite a lot of possibilities, but some are maybe a bit more suboptimal. Now the shadow looks pretty bad.
Yeah, in this matchup, that creature is very bad because you can never block.
Yes. And especially when you want to play like a game with Freaks in Arena, and you want to maybe like somehow sit on it, maybe protect your life total to increase your advantage.
I would guess the motivation for the shadow creature is just like getting there with Armadillo Cloak.
Yeah, absolutely.
The one toughness is keeping that from happening now. So this game, I would say,
is over.
It's over.
Yes, this was supposed to be hit by a counter spell. Yeah. In the ideal world.
But to be fair, he had also we don't know if he had it in hand back then, but Naturalize was another answer to the cloak there, except for the double.
Yes.
Double jump.
On the other hand, like Roman kept very sketchy hand, and he was quite lucky not to be instantly punished by something like lucky.
Yeah, I mean a lucky there, and the game would have been over.
Yeah, not to mention there was some missed land drop.
Yeah.
So I think he can't be too sorry, or he can't complain too much. Like the double gem palm was really tough, but like he had cards in hand, so he just played it. But here when we see his sideboard, I see 3 engineered plague.
Exactly, and then we have a couple of blue blast.
Couple of blue blast, and that's it. So there are 5 cards that you want to bring in. You definitely want to cut like the shadow. Like the shadow is you can't justify the shadow ever. So that's like 3 you want to cut, and like Seal of Cleansing, I guess.
Hypnotic Spectre doesn't seem very strong either in this matchup.
But Seal of Cleansing does literally nothing.
Yeah, I would rather have a Meddling Mage than a Hypnotic.
Yes, but
Meddling Mage is quite good. Like you can name something like Siege Gang or Ring Leader.
Unfortunately, you can't stop Gem Palm, so Gem Palm is always the answer. Probably he will have maybe some Red Blast, so that would be something he can hit. I don't know how good it is, but honestly, Martin, Seal of Cleansing does literally nothing, right?
That's correct.
Seal of Cleansing does nothing, and Shadow doesn't block. No. So that's the first 5 cards. I mean, Duress is kind of weird. You don't really want it, but still better than those 5 cards.
I mean, if you expect the Goblin player to keep, for instance, naturalize effects, then the rest could be nice. Since I think
Protect your plague.
Yeah, and also the cloak. So the rest can make sense at least. But the Zero Cleansings and the Daughter Horrors, not so much.
Yes, I mean they're the first ones that came to my attention.
But we would have a decent amount of removal with 3 bolts, 3 swords, and 2 blue blasts, plus Engineer Plague afterboard.
Were there 3 swords or 4 swords?
3 that I could see. And for the red-green, I think we're looking at a pretty standard sideboard.
Yes, you just bring in some more disenchant effects, I guess. I'm not sure if you want. Do you really want Pyro Hydroblast? Because seems to me that sometimes players, especially players that play like Burn, that play these very decks that are well tuned together, they sometimes damage their deck by sideboarding.
Yeah,
that they over sideboard.
And to be fair, Federico doesn't really know what else is in Roman's rogue deck, right? So, but Meddling Mage was the only blue card he saw at least.
And Counterspell.
That's true, and Counterspell. But yeah, I wouldn't take in too many red blasts at least.
I think you probably want like the Tranquil Domain, in my opinion. I would take both of them because you can expect like Engineered Plague. And a Tranquil Domain is kind of like sometimes when you have 2 Engineered Plagues, you feel like invincible. You feel like there's nothing that can possibly go wrong, and then it will just blow you out of the water with Tranquil Domain. And what's funny, if you don't really have a pressure, it can be like 4 turns draw and go. Then he draws Tranquil Domain, and then he just, punches you with like with War Chief and something else, and like Pile Driver or Lucky.
And he has a pair of Anarchy in the board, but even though they work against the Armadillo Cloak and the Meddling Mage, I'm a bit hesitant. I'd probably rather take in maybe a sneaky Pyrokinesis just to counter a cloak when it's cast. Or you can just get 2 creatures, like a Meddling Mage and a Burst of Paradise or something like that.
Yes, I like that. Yes, maybe some Pyrokinesis and like
to get some tempo. Yeah,
but I would just really keep it like a kind of low key.
Yeah, not over sideboard. I agree.
Change too much. Yeah. I would definitely keep the Kink.
Yeah, versus the Plague.
Versus the Plague, and yes, the problem is that Plague, like, it's not even that amazing against Goblins, right? Like, it's good, but there are a lot of Goblins that have 2 toughness. So it's not like you just.
You need something else.
You need you need something to go with it. Absolutely. Because if you think about like the War Chief, Ringleader, Pile Driver, they are all 2 toughness. Of course, Pile Driver is not amazing when you don't have the friends, but it doesn't die. So you can like unlock him a few turns later when you get the disenchant effect. So. Yes.
Island Sanctuary is also an interesting card here.
Oh, I for some reason I thought it's like a fun card, like like you have the card that you divide. I'm sorry. So you may decline to draw.
It's basically a moat if you give it your draw step.
Yes, it's moat for the poor.
Yeah. But with Arena...
Legal mode.
Yeah, with Arena you can keep drawing. I would guess that's the
lovely.
combo. But the problem is it dies to Tranquil Domain along with other stuff here. So I'm not sure how deep he wants to go with enchantments.
I think that Island Sanctuary is an amazing card. But the problem is that he has like 6 disenchant effects or something like that.
Yeah,
that's a lot. How can you ever like realistically keep it?
Yeah, I think ideally Roman would want to be a bit more proactive in this game, like stick a creature with a cloak and then just play like removals and counters.
Yes, and also Island Sanctuary doesn't work on the turn you play it. You have to wait 1 turn. And then skip your draw phase.
Yeah, of course.
And then you get his
that's
enchant.
A problem, yeah.
Cool. But I see Blue Blast. That's a good start. There's a mulligan from Roman. Roman, please do it for us. Win one game. We believe in you. Yes, Island Sanctuary. I haven't seen it. I have it because from some Enchantress days from back in the day, but I completely forgot about the card.
He put it in his sideboard for something, so
Yes.
I mean,
which other matchup?
yeah, I was thinking about that. If it was relevant against like Dreadnought decks, if they don't have any way to remove it, and he has like a shadow creature or something, but
That's very cool.
or if you plan to win by decking, but
That's
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
But yes, that's another beautiful thing about the card. It's actually win con.
Yeah.
You can just keep how Stasis used to kill with a Chronotok,
Yeah.
right? You pump it and you skip your next turn. So you just pump it in his turn, goes to his turn. You pump it again, and you just never get to your turn, and you deck your opponent. So that's kind of
Yeah, but into the match, we saw that Roman apparently kept at least some number of Dorothy Horrors as he opens on that, while Federico opens again with a Mog Fanatic, and yeah, the dynamic there is
very
like
similar.
before. Yeah, he cannot threaten a cloak with the Mog Fanatic on the table.
Oh, there is a river.
Yeah, there's a fresh river. But it seems that he didn't use the port in the upkeep, but didn't play a spell. Does that signal anything?
I didn't gem palm, but it's weird.
It's kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah, it's because I think you can kind of ignore the shadow. Honestly, I think what he I don't understand this play because I would tap. I would like to.
Yeah, I would tap like the non-gemstone land just to make him use it actually.
Yes.
But here comes the Flesh
So,
Reaver.
what are the odds that Federico will have to read this card? But he hasn't reached out for it yet, so maybe he knows. But I know what it does, but I'll still read it again if somebody would play it.
And here we have it. In the right one. And just for your information, because I'm assuming here there is an active Twitch chat, but we cannot see the chat. So if you come with,
Yes, I think we will figure it out how to do it. But definitely, please.
perhaps we can see the chat here. Perhaps, yeah.
Yes,
But we haven't looked so far. So pardon us if we missed any shoutouts or questions so far.
Wonderful, but I'm not so sure about this play. Maybe Federico wanted a land. Maybe he was missing a land. I couldn't see his hand. That's why he went for this like a gem palm play.
Yeah.
But it was very signalized. It was very, very clear that he wants to do that.
Yeah.
So
It's a wasteland.
and now, yes, now okay, he taps the gemstone land.
I would tap the forest.
Yes, I agree. But he's buying time before
That's a greedy play. Nice to sit your breath.
bird. Yes. And now do you attack? Yes, you do. Okay, it's funny.
Okay.
It's kind of funny.
I'm not sure about that.
Now he's reading it.
Now
Now
it's
you're reading it.
Perhaps if it has trample or not is wondering. If he wants to like block and kill the bird or something.
But it doesn't have to.
No, it doesn't have. But perhaps
It will.
Yeah. Yeah, it it will.
It will
With a
have
cloak, yeah. I mean, block shoot the bird could be something that he considers.
Yes, but a shout out to this amazing bird.
Yeah.
That's
But
incredible.
really, I mean, even it's not for sure that you want to block. They're equal in lives there, so
So he blocks and
yeah,
kills the bird.
and they will both go to 14. I'm not sure if I would consider myself the beatdown in Roman's Fist. Or maybe I would, because he seems short on land and
Yes,
has no
but,
threats
but,
on
but I have
board.
to say, would you play bird before attack?
No reason.
No reason.
If you want to attack, you should attack first.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I think that was maybe because he got like everything out of it. Like
Yeah, I mean,
I would not block with if I was a goblin
Yeah.
player, but if I want to block, then he got like
yeah. Now you
basically
just give
he's
him more
on, he
options.
kept the
Yeah.
car parity and
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, now that we stay, correct myself, do we stay at 18 because there was no combat damage, obviously. But if apparently he wanted to attack and do 4 to each, and in that case he should have done it before. But I think it to me, without seeing his hand, I'm not sure if I agree if he's like the beatdown, especially with like City or Brass on the table and the opponent with a port.
Yes, we'll see. But I think again, Roman can't be too sad about this play. Basically, Federico, and it seems Federico didn't do anything, right? He just played matron.
Matron
He
for
just
the
put 1/1, so he can like
Pile Driver. Yeah, if he has the cloak now, he's looking pretty good with the trample, as you said. He's looking pretty good.
Yes.
But that's a big if. And if he doesn't have the sneaky pyrokinesis in response.
There's Armadillo Cloak, come on.
It's the Arena or Plague or Claw. It's the Cloak. Wow, power play. The foil, Armadillo Cloak. And no pyrokinesis, no sneaky. Would have been really good there.
Yes, that would be like, would probably be almost the game. Like, you put so much... you put so much resources into this.
Now, even if he has... I mean, he doesn't have a green mana, but even if he could disenchant the Cloak, he would be behind in the race.
Yes.
So now racing... I mean, in light of this, the attack last round makes a lot of sense if he had the Cloak. So assuming that he didn't draw it. But then again, if he had attacked before, he could maybe having down.
When I was coming here today, I did not expect to see a Reaver with Armadillo Cloak turn 1.
No, this is... now, I think it's a first for me in my life, a Flesh Reaver with Armadillo Cloak. I don't know, but
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like it a lot. But it's like, basically it means that Roman doesn't lose life, right?
Yeah.
He's not really gaining life.
No.
Yes. And he's also losing life.
Yeah, okay, but it deals damage. It deals damage.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, because it deals damage to yourself.
Because it deals damage to yourself.
Yeah,
that's... Yes, I just want to make sure, because I thought it's better than I thought.
He found the Kaplusan forest for the naturalized, actually. So...
well, he has another one for sure.
But that's good for the match, because otherwise I think the match would have been over. Now it's instead looks really interesting, because now we have a weird race with a Reaver and Roman up.
Of course, he has another one.
Or a Plague now would also be devastating.
Oh,
yeah, it's the Plague, right?
Yes, that's good.
That's also really good.
Or I want more of this. Can we have Roman? Can we have Roman every round?
With the perfect Reaver into Armadillo Cloak. So.
Yes, always.
Yeah.
But one thing that if I would see this deck, one of the first things that came to my mind is that no Mox Diamond.
No.
Right? Because that's so tempting, right? To put at Mox Diamond, have everything faster, have the right mana, but there is a big price to pay.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, if you play Mox Diamond, you need other synergies to make it good. And it doesn't run things like Armageddon, for instance, so...
Which is also interesting that I think there's no Armageddon in Roman's list.
No, I didn't see that.
Again, at least like one of in sideboard, I would like it.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool card.
But
he goes for Counterspell instead.
Yeah, I think the mana curve stops at 3 pretty much, right? And it only has the 4 birds, I think, as the mana creatures. Yeah. So what happens here? Ward Chief. Oh, Ward Chief was countered by the Blast.
Yes, a plate of Lotus Petal.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. I like it.
Looks grim for Federico now. We don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he doesn't have a naturalize, because then he would probably attack, I figure.
Yeah. Is he going to chump?
Yeah, probably. Chumping.
But chumping is pretty good, because he's going to 14.
Yeah, it changes the life dynamics a lot. Again, he didn't use the port. But he didn't use his mana in another way. That would be 1 free damage. I mean, that could be significant in this Flesh Reaver race.
I think that's one of the things I like about Premodern, is that mana is really not for free, and you have to think a lot about it and use it correctly. And when you want to, take damage from Painland, and how to tap correctly.
But actually, here it would also stop him from his 3rd mana. So if he would have like another Cloak or Plague or whatnot, it would actually stop him cold from playing it. So
what does Roman has? Counterspell, Swords to Plowshares.
I haven't seen. I don't even know how many cards in hand.
It's like,
to finish him up. Yeah.
don't jump one more turn. But obviously the problem with the Reaver on its own is that basically he can just play like every turn Mock Fanatic, and eventually you can't attack anymore. Well, there's a Plague, sorry. But without the Plague, if you have Flesh Reaver, it can sometimes be a bit strange. Like without the swing from Armadillo Cloak, he would be on 6 life, right? Do I say
the drawback on Flesh River is real. It's real.
Yes.
It's very
well. It's 2 mana for in this format. So, what is he going to do? I mean, he probably doesn't want to face that he's going to lose. That's why it takes him so long. Federico, it's not the end of the, there's one more game.
There's no shame in losing to a Flesh Reaver, you say.
Oh,
the Goblin King has the perfect counter to play. Now he starts using.
Now he uses it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The port.
He has Armadillo Cloak, believe it or not. He does have it.
He has it, really?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So what? That's insane. Actually, that's insane. Another Armadillo Cloak.
When I was starting with Magic, and I remember my friend told me, enchant creatures are bad. And I didn't want to believe him because I like them so much. I want to boost my creature. He's like, no, they are bad, because when I kill the creature, you lose 2 cards.
With a trample, there's nothing he can do.
That's
really.
So cool. So cool. But yes, but even if he has like a disenchant or what, it's like he's in such a bad spot.
Yeah, because he cannot cast the disenchant unless he jumps. But jumping with the king is absolutely horrendous. I mean, for his long-term plan in this game. And then he would have to use the naturalize on the cloak and not the plague. So yeah,
I think
he's in a rough spot.
Yeah, the writing's on the wall. He's jumping. No, he's not. He goes to 1. And now he will concede.
I don't see anything he can do because green mana will cost his life, as we said.
Please just don't tell me, Martin. Then the 3rd game will be like turn 1 lucky on the play without answer.
But he has, as we said, he has like 8 answers in the deck, so he should take that into account for his mulligans.
Yes. What I'm always fascinated by when some people... So 5 mana, 1/1.
Yeah.
Right? Just want to clarify. No. Actually, it's...
with the king. With the king.
Yes, with the king.
Yeah.
Very cool. But he will have to... So he has, what is it? 4 power, 5 power... He's dead.
Yeah, it's not enough power-wise. It's 2, 3. It's 6 power. Yeah.
Good token.
No, he has 6 power. Right, 6 power because the king is a 2. No, the king is a 1/1.
No, king is 1/1.
Yeah, so it's 5.
Siege Gang is 2.
Yeah.
So it's 5. Yeah, it's 6.
So he can block with everything. So.
I think both.
I think it's
Of course.
To the face.
Of course. No, I mean, not that you kill the knight. I mean, yeah. Maybe you just want to.
You would humiliate him.
Yes,
and kill the
Goblin,
king and then attack with the river.
Of course. Yes. No, I think that was a very cool game, and obviously he plays 4 Armadillo.
Yeah.
That explains it.
It's the full set.
The thing I was saying that he plays 3 Swords to Plowshares and 3 Lightning Bolt. It's always for me super hard to make this kind of a split. Like how do you know, like Swords to Plowshares?
I mean, I imagine
unquestionably the best.
It has to do also with like the mana base and so on. I don't know, or perhaps not, because all of those are multicolor. I don't know, man. But
we'll see if Roman will reconsider keeping the Doughty, because it seems so bad. I would just have another Meddling Mage instead.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And Meddling Mage is very good just by itself. Just taking that War Chief from the curve, or the Ringleader, or even the Siege Gang.
Some people say it's
or the Naturalize, if that's the best play. Meddling Mage seems really good. The drawback being the red blast, but I don't think that he should be having red blast anyway. The Goblins
Certainly,
player.
it's always competing for like the title of being the best creature in the format, Meddling Mage. It's so strong. I always liked Meddling Mage, but it's pretty much unplayable in any other format.
Okay.
I think it's not really playable.
Other formats.
Oh, sorry. Cool. Very cool. I enjoy this game a lot. I hope we will see a lot of games like
Did
that.
we see any cyber cards? I don't think so. I'm still.
We saw Engineered Plague.
Yeah.
We saw.
Yeah, but I mean from the Goblins.
Okay.
Yeah, but I still like.
Maybe we saw Naturalize from the sideboard.
Yeah, that's true. We can tell, but I'm still thinking that having pyrokinesis now that they've seen all of these armadillo cloaks would actually be the correct way. It gives the tempo you need and the swing. And
if we think about it, if you have pyrokinesis in your hand, how can you lose?
Yeah.
That's maybe it would be a question maybe.
Yeah,
to
because
ask.
armadillo cloak would be completely crucial to the game plan here.
Yes.
It's very hard to see him like racing with the Flesh Reaver.
Yes,
for
with the
instance.
Flesh Reaver or having like double Meddling
Yeah.
Mage attacking with it,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem so realistic. Of course, you can always lose to like Engineered Plague
Yeah,
or
Engineered
to
Plague.
a holding counter spell for Naturalize and attacking with small creatures. It's
Sure.
possible, but I agree that
It's central to the plan.
yeah, so that sounds very
And also you can do a lot of. I mean, you could wipe out, in theory, like a meddling mage, a bird, a horror. I mean, at least 2 creatures. So Federico on the play.
If he keeps the shadow, because maybe I'll talk to Roman later and ask him about it.
So what we are kind of expecting, or maybe not expecting, but we're thinking about whether we have a lucky hand here.
Yes,
We-
I mean
that we-
lucky. That's like, do you have lucky? Do you have an answer? Like that's kind of the question. He's passing.
He's passing. So another slow start. To be fair,
Yes.
his previous starts have been quite slow with the
And
Mog
he drew
Fanatic.
Swords to Plowshares off the
Okay,
top. So
yeah. So
of
then,
planes.
but then it's nice. We're looking.
Yes,
at
we will have a game.
hopefully
We will
yeah,
have some
yeah.
reasonable game, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's a little bit disheartening, you know, that you lose, let's say, game 1, you don't know
Yeah.
what you're playing against. You win after 20 minutes, like a grind fest. You win game 2, and then game 3, he just like lucky turn 1. And
Yeah. But this is so we could see a counter spell and a swords in Roman's hand. Did we see an arena as well, or am I wrong? I think I glanced
I
it.
really
but,
don't know.
But I'm thinking about the mana here with the planes. It's hard already to cast a counter spell, but if he has like an arena, we'll see how the mana works out.
And
That
I
will be
think
crucial.
Roman is also playing Forest, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. Oh,
He sorts it immediately. Yeah.
I don't know.
So depending on what he has, but I would generally be hesitant to,
Yes, I
to
agree.
waste my source. If it comes to War Chief, I would rather go.
War Chief.
Yeah, but if he plans to play something here, maybe it makes sense. But okay, the horror again,
Horror again.
the horrible horror. But now
Yes.
there's no Mog Fanatic.
This horror
at least.
is
Yeah,
haunting me.
yeah. And without the Fanatic on board, there's always the threat of the
Armadillo.
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 Yeah. So now it looks.
But it's
Better.
such a cute creature as well. Like it a lot.
Yeah.
So it's Rishadan port, and now is the War Chief.
Probably.
So he would take 5 damage if he didn't sort.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, but if he can curve out, it makes sense. I mean, if Roman has other ways to spend his mana, I could.
I think I saw Lightning Bolt in Roman's hand.
Okay.
Depending whether he has the colors for it. No, he doesn't.
That's a green black. There's
Yes,
another Land
Land
of
of
Wastes.
Wastes.
There's 2 Land of Wastes, 1 planes. So no
In
zero
counter
blue
spell
mana.
deck. In counter spell deck, yes.
So we see either Plague or Arena. Oh, Hypnotic. Okay, he kept Hypnotic as well as a Horror. It takes. I mean, actually, Hypnotic is pretty good here because Federico hasn't evolved his hand, but he has to pay for it with 2 damage. And it's a flyer. He has. I mean, he has a real clock now. Actually,
Yes, he does, but it depends what is the follow up, because if he has like pile driver and something,
Yeah,
then
I mean,
the game can and very quick.
yeah, anything
Now
from-
I see counter spell, vindicate,
Yeah.
lightning bolt.
And Vindicate is castable, so that is important.
That's
yeah.
important.
We could see something crazy like Ringleader into Pile Driver here, as you said, and then that would be true. Then in that case, you will have to block a Pile Driver. So that's
Yes.
Hypnotic can block, unlike
Yes.
Horror at least.
That's
so.
why I was when we were
Yeah.
talking about the sideboard, I felt like hypnotic is like more justifiable. Oh,
Gem
just for
Form?
one? Wait,
Wait.
It shouldn't
For
die.
one?
It's just for
Yeah,
one.
Yeah.
Can you believe this? Can you make?
Was this a misplay or does
It's
he
a
have
mis.
another
No,
one?
it's a misplay.
No, he can have another one.
Okay, yeah, he can have another one. You're
Yeah.
right. We saw it. They come in doubles.
Yeah.
Gem Pump Incinerator always rings twice.
Or it can follow up with a Mog Fanatic. But yeah, it would make more sense to play
Oh
the Mog Fanatic.
no, that's painful. I'm sorry. I think
So it was a misplay.
yeah, it was a misplay, but I think Federico had a plan. Like he wanted to play Matron to get something and then cycle. But he just somehow maybe
So he sequenced
he
it.
got ahead of himself. Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
What do we know? But yeah, that's unfortunate for him.
Yes. But it can happen when you think like so hard, like how are you going to proceed? He's probably thinking what he's going to do next turn, because he's like, okay, get Matron. Which one I get? What I want to cast? Maybe he will kill that,
Yeah,
and then you
It's
just
a feature match on camera at the European Premodern
Yes.
Championships.
and you.
Some nerves.
And I don't know where Federico came from, but I would think maybe Italy.
I would guess that.
Yes. So, need to cross the Alps. It's not easy. So very, yeah. I think that has to feel bad, But hopefully Federico can bounce back. Now he's attacking. Okay, there's one damage. Okay, I'm just. He's giving Roman chance.
Yes, but still, the Hypnotic could very well block the War Chief. I mean, it's not a bad trade per se, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad trade
Yes.
because also, yeah, I mean that would stop crazy plays down the line. But he has the Vindicate, so he could also go for the Vindicate
Yes.
on the War Chief. He has that option, and it's
and-
not crazy to keep the clock. I mean, I like actually.
And now, like biggest justice, if you discard the ringleader.
Yeah. Connecting with the Hypnotic.
Okay. it's
Tranquil
Tranquil
Domain, that could be very relevant down the line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think so. Now he's starting to get his the value.
So depending on what he has now,
Yes.
I mean, killing the War Chief makes
but now
sense to
he
keep the
can
initiative.
bolt the war chief.
He has the Bolt and the Vindicate now. Okay, that's... Then he can even remove his green mana source or port or whatever.
Yes, but
But
I
it
think
goes-
that I like this the most. I think this is the best. Unless he has Wasteland, he will not be punished. But I think that's great because if he has like another war chief, because he needs kind of quite a lot. Of course, he can now play for 4 mana the ringleader.
Yeah, but now he's almost a bit slow.
Yes.
But we see. I mean, he's ahead in the race though. Still the Goblins with all the damage he's taking from his mana base.
Yes.
Um,
And now
but without the War Chief,
he will get
it
2
will not
cards.
be
and-
as crazy.
Oh, there's
That was the Fanatic there is actually really good because
Yes.
you can get the horror, but
Uh-huh.
and then it was the Gem Palm,
Gem Palm,
which
but-
can deal with a Hypnotic
can, but it will be
unless it will
be discarded.
Yeah.
Well, it will be discarded either
You're
way.
calling it.
It will be discarded
Yeah.
either way, but depending.
Yeah.
With
I think it's a coin flip, right? Whether it gets, but he has one unknown card, as far as I can see.
very cool. I like it. I am kind of.
Nice match.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, but Roman has a bunch of cards in hand as well. I think we are seeing the Bolt and the Counterspell.
I think
but,
Bolt and a
yeah.
Counterspell, yes. So
But
now
yeah, I think
takes
he has
3.
even more cards.
So he's taking it. Maybe a Bolt. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a bit. Yeah.
Oh, the Island Sanctuary.
Okay, yeah, but as we said,
But
it
that's
doesn't
actually
work.
so relevant. He discarded the Tranquil Domain, so you
Yeah.
can just cast that.
Yeah.
The problem is that he won't be able to bolt. No, he can bolt.
Yeah, he can
So he
bolt
can
as well,
play
but-
Sanctuary. He can have a security bolt,
Yeah,
attack.
The problem is here. Then he needs to discard the Gem Pawn because otherwise he could deal with both his creatures
Exactly.
and then he's just stuck because
So-
he doesn't have arena.
I agree. So basically, he has to attack and get a little bit lucky.
Yeah.
But that would be so cool if single Spectre wins the game protected by Island Sanctuary.
Yeah, that would be epic.
Yeah.
I think Roman.
Probably
is
we haven't seen things like that since like 1995.
Roman is reading something on his phone. I would assume he's checking like the errata on Island Sanctuary.
Maybe his girlfriend is anxious.
If you would draw a card during your draw step,
Oh, he
instead you may
didn't play
skip
it.
that draw. If you do, until your next turn, you can't be attacked except by creatures with flying and/or island walk because it's an island. It makes a lot of sense. Self-explanatory rule.
Oh no, he discarded Mock Fanatic, so the game palm is there.
Okay,
He's not
so
playing it, but unfortunately,
now it's not good. It's. I mean, he can choose not to use it, so there's no
can.
downside of playing it really.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
but the
But
problem is that he can't use it because he doesn't have a threat.
no, exactly. With the
that's-
incinerator threatening the hypnotic. So yeah. Looking kind of bleak for Roman because he's so low in life and all of his relevant mana is from Painlands. So that would be and also with the
Shadow
long
Port.
term, the port and the city
Yes.
could mess it up. So I'm looks very bad for Roman
Yeah, that's a
overall.
shame.
And that counter spell sitting in his hand all the game, of course, illustrating
You
the
would maybe need
monkey
Finkel
mana
with
base.
it.
Sorry.
Finkel, Shadow Mage
Yeah,
Infiltrator.
that would
with
be
this.
that would be cool. With
Yes, that could work.
yeah, I like Finkel better than the horror actually. I mean, it obviously doesn't curve with the armadillo cloak, but maybe I actually like it better than hypnotic.
I mean, obviously the big strength of a Hypnotic in Premodern is Dark Ritual. You can get it
Yeah.
turn one.
Yeah. Also, like three power is a little bit tougher to kill than 2 power. It can be relevant.
Yes. A little bit. But not so much. Like when you think about all the removal that's being played, it's not such a big difference, right? 2 power, 3 power.
I mean, for instance, like a situation with Gempalm when there are 2 creatures. I mean, just take one example.
It can
And
be
also,
Grim Monster.
yeah, cause like shock exist and various like.
No, I think we're
There was the pyrokinesis.
There was a Pyrokinesis. Good call from Federico. Yeah,
And
there is.
was it a pile driver and
pile driver.
matron? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he's not. Okay, he's attacking,
He can.
putting him down to.
He doesn't use his
shoot.
ball,
He doesn't use the ball. That's strange, because I don't think he.
but that was like the last chance to use it, pretty much, right? So yeah, he used his sanctuary there, but I mean,
but I think-
he cannot even raise the port, right?
That's really bad when you can't even raise a land. That's not a man land.
Yeah. If you had or can he? He can bolt him to the face, but he has the fanatic, so and he knows he has the gem pawn, or
Yes.
and now he discarded. It was another card that was discarded, right?
Yes,
From
it
the
was a
top.
pile driver discarded. He
Okay,
taps.
so that maybe he just to the face. Okay,
And now he
But
will
still-
just shake his hand. Yes. Okay. Okay. Good match.
but wait, so was that?
No, it was just like he was killing him. He was on 2 life and he was about to sacrifice Mock Fanatic.
Ah, okay.
So
Yeah,
he
there
was
the
he was
fanatic,
dead on
yeah.
board.
Yeah, I wasn't considering fanatic.
He should
yeah.
have probably maybe bolted the
Yeah.
2/2 creature during the previous attack, but I did not. Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, had
He wouldn't make it anyway because he always
had
had
he
option of
discarded the
removing his-
Gem Palm, but funnily enough, he didn't even use the Gem Palm. He didn't mind being attacked
No,
again.
no, there was no chance there.
Definitely super cool deck from Roman.
Yeah.
Well played by Federico, and
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I think
Yeah.
that was good. That was a
Yeah.
good start, and I hope we'll continue.
Very exciting games.
Yes,
Still, yeah.
yes, absolutely. I liked it a lot, and like Armadillo Cloak, it
Flesh
works.
River. Yeah, I will
Right.
remember that one.
So I think that was round 1. I
Yeah.
think we'll take a short break, and we will be back we will be back soon. 5-10 minutes.